How's it going, YouTube? We are back, still catching up on the signing and trades. We're still a very long way away. But Montreal signs left winger Mike Hoffman to a 3-year, $13.5 million deal. He is a sniper. Mike Hoffman is one of the most lethal wrist shots in the game, especially on the power play. Great one-timer, kind of Ovechkin-esque, left-handed, but still just as powerful, maybe even a little bit less powerful, but still efficient on the power play. He needs to be set in that specific role, though. Not as great on defense. Not terrible, but more of a power play specialist for sure. Just a little bit over $4 million for him. That's not too bad for a guy that could give you 20 goals. Buffalo gets Will Butcher and a 2022 fifth in exchange for future considerations. I like this trade for Buffalo. Will Butcher is a talented young defenseman. I think that he could really make an impact on their team. Bolster up their blue line a little more because it's really not as good as it could be. Washington gets their hands on Vitek Vanacek, or gets their hands back on Vitek Vanacek in exchange for a 2023 second. So what happened was Vitek Vanacek was selected in the expansion draft, and Seattle trades them back Vitek Vanacek for the second. It looks like Seattle has their goaltenders now, Chris Driedger, and later on in this video we will talk about Philip Grubauer. Nice tandem right there, I gotta say, between Driedger and Grubauer. Vanacek goes back to Washington to play under, he might even be their starter. I don't remember who their starter is in Washington right now, but he could end up being the starter in Washington for sure. On to the MLB, some MLB. Oh, I forgot to put a position for Cooper Hamill. Arizona gets Alberto Scipien, shortstop, and Cooper Hummel in exchange for a third baseman. To Milwaukee goes Eduardo Escobar. Eduardo Escobar is still a very good hitter. Plays a decent third base. Switch hitter, hits for power on both sides. Good contact as well. Discipline at the plate. They're really trying to bolster up. They're getting the bats that they need to make a push. And they would be a very, very dangerous team had, some of their top dogs been performing a little bit better. But the pitching staff is one of the best in the league, if not the best. They get some more power, or if they get some more bats and get some more power, they could be serious trouble for anybody in the MLB. Back to the NHL. Colorado gets Darcy Kemper from Arizona in exchange for Connor Timmins and a conditional first-round pick in 2022. Darcy Kemper is going to be replacing the hole that Grubauer left. I don't know if it's going to be as a starter or if it's going to be as a backup, but Kemper is a very talented goaltender if he's healthy. The only problem is that he hasn't been that healthy in the last couple years. Connor Timmins is a pretty talented young defenseman that Colorado is sending to Arizona, so Arizona gets a nice young defenseman out of it. I think it's a good trade all around. This is a big one right here, a blockbuster trade. Texas gets their hands on Glenn Otto, a pitcher, second baseman Josh Smith. I believe Ezekiel Duran is an outfielder, and Trevor Hauber, a second baseman as well, in exchange for Joey Gallo, right fielder Joey Gallo, and Joely Rodriguez. So the entirety of the Yankees' left-handed bats have been performing subpar all year long, and Joey Gallo by himself has more home runs than their left-handed bats. So that's a huge jump in talent level for left-handed hitters on the Yankees team. The only significant problem I have with this is that they're possibly trading, a lot of young players. They're going all in, buying in exchange for maybe a fourth-place finish in the American League East. Because of the fact that the Rays, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays are all extremely good teams this year. And they all made some pretty decent moves, except for, I think, Tampa. Tampa didn't really do anything at the deadline, I don't think. But Boston did, and Toronto did, and they're both good teams, and they're both teams that I have being better than the Yankees right now. So even with the addition of Joey Gallo, who is an extremely talented, power-hitting, left-handed defensive beast of a right fielder, I still think Toronto's a better team, and I still think Boston's a better team than the Yankees. Back to the NHL. Speaking of Boston, left winger Nick Foligno signed a $7.6 million deal for the Bruins. Power forward, power play, penalty kill, tight on the forecheck, hard hitting. Things that go into those, Boston Bruin kind of like philosophy. You need to be a big guy that hits. Pasternak's kind of the only one that gets out of that, and now Taylor Hall. But Foligno will fit the grit, and he'll probably play third line time there, maybe second line time with Hall. But you know, they're adding depth, and I like I said before in previous videos, I think they're an extremely good team, and I think that they're just a piece or two away from being a serious cup contender. Florida, Carter Verhaeghe signs a 3-year, $12.5 million extension. I don't really know too much about Verhaeghe. I know that as the NHL season went on last year, I kept seeing his name come up. I haven't seen him play too much yet, but he plays for Florida, the Panthers, a nice, solid team on paper, and I think that he's going to be a young stud for them. They're signing him for 3 years at $4+ million, and I think it's you know, a good idea to get him signed. Give him a bridge deal before he asks for his big boy deal if he continues to play well. And who knows, maybe Florida's a contender as well. Boston signs goalie Linus Ullmark, 4 years, $20 million. It's a $5 million goaltender right there. Don't know what's going on with Tuukka Rask. I don't think I remember hearing anything about him. If there is something going on with Tuukka Rask, let me know. Did he get traded? Did he retire? If something happened, I missed it. But if that's backup money for a goalie, that's expensive, really, really expensive backup. That's more like starter money, like mid-tier starter money. So I'm going to say he's a mid-tier starter for Boston. The Bruins also signed defenseman Derek Forbort to a 3-year, $9 million deal. More of a defensive defenseman, shutdown line kind of guy. He played with Dougie as a King for a while. They played pretty good together as well. So look for him to be on the shutdown pairing. Probably third or top 6, top 2 or top 4 defenseman. Penalty kill, maybe not power play, but penalty kill. So look for him to shut it down for Boston. Then Dallas makes a signing that I really, really like for them. That's Ryan Suter for 4 years and $14.6. So Ryan Suter's not as good as he used to be, but he still logs a lot of minutes, and he can still play a good two-way game. He has a very, very smart stride. Uses his energy at opportune times, so he can play those extended amounts of minutes, 26, 25 minutes per game. Still has a lot of talent. He still can, play defense with some of the best of them. So I think it's a very good signing for Dallas. New Jersey signs Dougie Hamilton, a 7-year, $63 million contract for Dougie Hamilton, who is an offensive defenseman, but a very good offensive defenseman. Chips in with a lot of points, a lot of assists, a lot of goals, but he's not. But he's also not, terrible on the defensive aspect of the puck. He's worth every bit of that $9 million, in my opinion. I think that he should really be considered a top-tier defenseman. I just think that since he's more offensive and he takes a little bit more risks, that people don't really consider him to be at that, the Hedman level, the Seth Jones level. I think he's probably around top 10 as well for Dougie Hamilton. In Seattle, makes a big splash getting goalie Philip Grubauer for a 6-year, $35.4 million deal. Had one of the best goals against averages in the NHL. I know that Colorado was an extremely good defensive team, but he still has to make the saves. He still has to keep the puck out of the net, and he did a very, very good job of that. And now he's playing for Seattle, a team that, is developing. We don't know how good they're going to be this year, whether they're going to be, amazing team, whether they're going to be subpar, whether they're going to be average, but they get a goalie and a pretty good goalie in my opinion, in Philip Grubauer. So I'm excited to see what they do. 6 years, $35.4 million. That's right under $6 million. It's a very, very. I think it's a pretty basic, fair deal right there. I can't argue with it in terms of the way he's performed last season. So I think it's a good contract, a good signing. They have their goaltender. They have their 2 goaltenders in Drieger and Grubauer. A very, 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 very nice tandem right there. But that's going to do it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, comment what you guys think about these transactions. If you guys would like to make a donation to the channel, it's No Hit Media on Cash App, and I will see you guys next time.